Einstein, a name synonymous with genius, discovered something so profound, so potentially disruptive, that he dedicated the final chapter of his life trying to disprove it. Not because he believed it was inherently wrong, but because its implications were so earth-shattering, they threatened to unravel our entire understanding of reality itself. He famously dubbed it spooky action at a distance back in 1935, and today we recognize it as mounting evidence that consciousness, our consciousness, actually creates reality, the reality we perceive. And for decades, the mainstream scientific community has been actively suppressing these implications, keeping them out of the public eye. This may sound like something straight out of a sci-fi film. The idea that your mind could be responsible for shaping the physical world around you is a huge pill to swallow. But I promise you, this isn't just some new age woo-woo. This is hard physics, backed by rigorously verified experiments. And in 2022, a Nobel Prize was awarded that essentially proved Einstein wrong about the one thing he desperately hoped he was right about. It shook the foundations of physics. Before we go any further, I want you to understand something very important. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I am here to present you with evidence. Evidence that has been deliberately buried, because its implications threaten every institution that profits from keeping you feeling powerless. If you're watching this, you're probably already questioning the established narrative. You sense that something's off about the official version of reality. And guess what? You're absolutely right. Let's rewind a bit and go back to Copenhagen in 1927, a pivotal moment. Einstein, at the absolute peak of his fame, had already transformed physics with his groundbreaking theory of relativity. He was widely regarded as the greatest mind alive. And yet, at the fifth Solvay conference, he found himself locked in a battle he was destined to lose. His opponent, a brilliant scientist named Niels Bohr. And Bohr's weapon of choice? The mind-bending world of quantum mechanics. Here's the mind-blowing discovery Bohr made that completely terrified Einstein. When you observe the smallest particles of matter, something seemingly impossible happens. Before you observe them, these particles don't exist in any definite state. Instead, they exist as waves of probability, effectively everywhere and nowhere all at once. But the instant you observe them, they instantly collapse into a specific location, a single point. In essence, the act of observation itself creates reality. Einstein simply could not accept this idea. He famously quipped, "I like to think the moon is there even if I am not looking at it." And for the next 30 years of his life, he dedicated himself to proving Bohr wrong. He wanted to debunk it, but he failed, miserably. Every experiment again and again confirmed quantum mechanics. The unshakable truth: reality does not exist independently of observation. But here's the part they always leave out in your basic physics class. Einstein wasn't just upset because quantum mechanics challenged his own sense of order. He was absolutely terrified because he fully understood the implications. If observation creates reality at the quantum level, and everything in the universe is ultimately constructed of quantum particles, then consciousness cannot possibly be separate from the physical world. It means that consciousness creates the physical world. I'm going to share with you the evidence they don't want you to see. In 1944, Max Planck delivered a game-changing speech in Florence. Now, Planck was no mystic. He was the father of quantum physics, the man who literally invented the field. And this is what he proclaimed. Quote, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness." End quote. He asserted that matter is derived from consciousness, not the other way around. The very founder of quantum physics believed that your mind is responsible for creating physical reality. So the question is, why don't they teach this in schools? The answer is disturbingly simple. Because if you truly grasped that your own consciousness is responsible for creating your reality, you would instantly become uncontrollable. You would stop blindly accepting that external authorities get to dictate your life. You would realize that the power to transform your circumstances lies entirely within your own mind. But wait, there's so much more to this story. Eugene Wagner was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1963 for his groundbreaking contributions to quantum physics. In his pivotal paper, On the Mind-Body Problem, he penned these words, quote, "It was not possible to formulate the laws of quantum mechanics in a fully consistent way without reference to consciousness." End quote. Let me repeat that for emphasis. One of the most preeminent physicists of the 20th century stated, point blank, that quantum mechanics literally cannot function without consciousness. The equations break down, the entire theory falls apart, unless you include the observer, unless you factor in the mind. And then we have John Wheeler. Wheeler, a close colleague of Einstein's at Princeton, was the man who coined the term black hole. He was no fringe scientist pushing crazy theories, and in 1990, he proposed something so profound that it should have been front-page news worldwide: the participatory universe. Wheeler wrote, and I quote, "We are participators in bringing into being not only the near and here, but the far away and long ago." End quote. According to one of the most highly regarded physicists in history, you aren't merely observing the universe, you are actively creating it. Right now, with every single observation you make. This is not mere speculation or conjecture. This is mainstream physics, deliberately suppressed and kept away from open public discussion. Now, let me tell you about something that happened in August of 2024. Researchers at Wellesley College carried out an experiment that should have been plastered across the front pages of every newspaper in the country. They gave rats drugs designed to stabilize microtubules, these incredibly tiny structures located inside brain cells, that some scientists believe are the actual seat of consciousness, and the results were truly revolutionary. The rats developed a surprising resistance to anesthesia. It took significantly longer to render them unconscious. The experiment itself was meticulously titled Microtubule Stabilizer Epothelone B Delays Anesthetic Induced Unconsciousness in Rats, and published in a Neuro, a peer-reviewed, reputable journal. But why does this even matter? Because it offers direct, physical evidence that consciousness operates at the quantum level. The microtubules inside your brain are so incredibly small that they can actually exhibit quantum effects. And when you strengthen them, consciousness becomes more resilient, more powerful, more resistant to being shut down. This finding validates a theory put forth by Roger Penrose, one of the greatest living physicists, and Stuart Hameroff, an anesthesiologist who has dedicated decades to the study of consciousness. Their theory, known as orchestrated objective reduction, posits that your consciousness isn't produced by your brain at all. Instead, your consciousness uses your brain as an interface, a conduit to create and experience physical reality. But believe it or not, it gets even stranger. In December of 2024, research published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience proposed something that would have sounded absolutely insane just a decade prior: that consciousness may actually arise from the brain resonating with the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum that permeates every corner of space. Your brain isn't just receiving consciousness from within the confines of your skull. It might be tuning into a field of consciousness that exists everywhere throughout the universe, just like a radio tuning into a broadcast that has always been there. This paradigm shift explains something Einstein noticed, but never openly discussed. In his personal correspondence, now meticulously archived at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Einstein expressed ideas he never publicly shared in his scientific papers. He wrote about the cosmic religious feeling, about sensing an intelligence that underpins the entire universe, about experiences of profound unity that transcended rational thought. So, why did he keep these thoughts private? Because, in his era, saying such things would have destroyed his credibility. Physics and mysticism were strictly separated. But Einstein knew the separation was artificial. He knew that what we call physics and what we call consciousness were pointing at the same truth, a truth too dangerous to reveal. Think about what happens. If everyone understands that consciousness creates reality, every industry, built on making you feel powerless, collapses. Every institution that profits from your fear becomes irrelevant. Every authority that claims to know what is best for you loses its hold. You realize that the reality you experience is not fixed. It is not determined by external forces beyond your control. It is literally being created by your own observation, your own attention, your own consciousness. This is why the Einstein-Bohr debate matters so much. Einstein spent 30 years trying to prove consciousness was not fundamental to physics. He failed. Every experiment since then has confirmed Bohr. In 2022, the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Alain Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zeilinger for experiments that definitively proved what Einstein called quantum entanglement is real. Particles that are entangled affect each other instantly, across any distance, faster than light, in a way that cannot be explained by any physical mechanism. The only explanation that works is that physical reality, as we understand it, is not fundamental. Something deeper connects everything, and that something responds to observation, to consciousness. But here is the part that really matters. What does this mean for you? If consciousness creates reality, then your beliefs are not just opinions. They are creative forces. Your expectations are not just predictions. They are instructions to the universe about what to manifest. This is why every spiritual tradition, from ancient Egypt to the teachings of Jesus to modern quantum physics, points to the same truth. Your inner world creates your outer world. Einstein knew this, Planck knew this, Wigner knew this, Wheeler knew this, but they could not say it openly. Because the institutions that control education, media, and science have a vested interest in keeping you ignorant of your own power. Let me show you something else they buried. In 1931, over 100 scientists signed a document called 100 Authors Against Einstein. They tried to discredit relativity using scientific arguments. Einstein famously responded, "If I were wrong, one author would have been enough." But there was another suppression that never made headlines. The suppression of his philosophical views on consciousness. His letters discussing a sense of cosmic connection were kept from public view for decades. His conversations about the spiritual implications of physics were dismissed as an old man, losing his edge. They did not want you to know that the greatest scientific mind of the 20th century suspected what ancient wisdom traditions have always taught, that you are not in the universe. The universe is in you, created by your observation, shaped by your consciousness. And now, in 2024 and 2025, the evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. Google Quantum AI, led by physicist Hartmut Neven, is actively researching the connection between quantum computing and consciousness. They are using advanced quantum processors to investigate whether consciousness emerges from quantum phenomena. Why would the most powerful technology company on Earth invest in consciousness research? Because they understand what you are beginning to understand, that the next frontier is not artificial intelligence. It is understanding how consciousness interfaces with physical reality, because whoever masters that understanding masters reality itself. But you do not need Google or advanced technology to access this truth. You have a quantum computer between your ears. Your brain contains 86 billion neurons. Each neuron contains millions of microtubules. Each microtubule potentially operates at the quantum level. You are already equipped with the technology to create your reality. You have just been told your whole life that you are not. Let me tell you about an experiment that changed everything. In 1998, physicist Dean Radin conducted a study at the University of Nevada. He wanted to know if human consciousness could affect the behavior of quantum particles. What he found should have won a Nobel Prize. meditators were asked to focus their attention on a double-slit experiment. For those who don't know, this is the foundational experiment of quantum mechanics. When particles are not observed, they behave like waves. When observed, they behave like particles. The act of observation collapses the wave function. Radin found that experienced meditators could increase this collapse effect just by focusing their attention. Their consciousness was measurably affecting physical reality. The experiment has been replicated multiple times. It keeps working. Human consciousness does affect quantum systems. So, why is this not taught in every university? Because it undermines the materialist worldview. That keeps you manageable. If your consciousness can affect matter, then you are not just a biological machine following chemical reactions. You are a creative agent capable of influencing physical reality. And that is dangerous to every system of control. Einstein understood this dilemma in his famous letter to the physicist Max Born. He revealed his deepest concern. He wrote about how quantum mechanics implies an abandonment of the idea of a reality existing independently of observation. He called it unbearable, not because it was bad science, but because he understood what it meant for human society. If everyone understood, they create reality. How do you maintain order? How do you keep people following rules when they realize the rules are arbitrary constructs of shared consciousness? This is the secret. Einstein almost took to his grave. He did not oppose quantum mechanics because he thought it was wrong. He opposed it because he knew it was right, and he knew humanity was not ready for the truth. But you are ready, otherwise you wouldn't still be watching. Let me show you one more piece of evidence. In March 2025, researchers published a paper in the journal exploring quantum entanglement in the human brain. The title was Evidence of Quantum Entangled Higher States of Consciousness, published in PMC, a division of the National Institutes of Health. The findings were extraordinary. Quote, "Our evidence supports the possibility of connecting human brains to quantum entanglement processes." End quote. Your brain may be quantum entangled with reality itself, not as a metaphor, as a measurable, physical phenomenon. This explains why every mystic tradition talks about unity with the universe, why meditators report experiences of cosmic consciousness, why psychedelics which affect quantum processes in the brain produce profound shifts in how reality is perceived. It's not imagination, it's physics. And Einstein suspected this long before we had the technology to prove it. In February 1950, Einstein wrote a letter to a grieving father, a dad who had just lost his son. The letter, now verified by Einstein scholar Alice Calabrese, contains a remarkable passage. Einstein wrote about how a human being experiences themselves as something separate from the rest. He called this an optical delusion of consciousness. He said the striving to free oneself from this delusion is the one issue of true religion. The greatest physicist in history was telling us that separation is an illusion, that consciousness is fundamental, that reality is unified. And he was saying this privately to a stranger, while publicly maintaining the image of the cold, rational scientist. Why the contradiction? Because he knew what would happen if he spoke openly. The same thing that happened to every genius who tried to reveal this truth: ridicule, marginalization, the destruction of credibility. Nikola Tesla spoke openly about consciousness and energy. He died alone and in poverty, while his ideas were stolen and classified. Wilhelm Reich studied the relationship between consciousness and physical energy. He was arrested and died in prison. The pattern is clear. Those who try to reveal the connection between consciousness and reality are systematically suppressed. But something has changed. The evidence is now too strong to ignore. The research is being published, The Nobel Prize has been awarded. The suppression is failing. And you are part of this awakening. Let me explain what this means. Practically, if consciousness creates reality, then your focused attention is the most powerful force in the universe. Where you direct your awareness, reality responds. What you expect with certainty tends to manifest. This is not magical thinking. It's quantum mechanics applied to everyday life. The double-slit experiment proves that observation determines outcome. Your life is a continuous observation. Every moment, you are collapsing wave functions of possibility into the particle reality of experience. The quality of your attention determines the quality of your reality. Einstein once said that the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. He wasn't just talking about intellectual flexibility, he was talking about the ability to change your observation, your expectations, your consciousness, and thereby change your reality. You have just received knowledge that institutions have spent billions keeping from you. Knowledge that rewrites everything you were taught about who you are and what you are capable of. The question is, what you will do with it. Most people watch videos like this and feel a moment of excitement. Then they go back to their normal patterns, normal beliefs, normal limitations. They glimpse the truth and then retreat to the comfortable illusion. But you are not most people if you are still watching. Something in you resonates with this truth. Something in you has always known that reality is more malleable than they told you, that your consciousness is more powerful than they want you to believe. You have two options now. You can dismiss this as entertainment and forget what you learned. Your reality will remain exactly as it is, shaped by default patterns you inherited from a culture designed to keep you small. So as you can begin to consciously create, start by noticing your own observation. Where does your attention go habitually? What do you expect to happen each day? What do you believe is possible for your life? These are not passive thoughts. They are creative instructions, commands to a quantum field that responds to consciousness. Einstein understood this. Planck understood this. Every great physicist who looked deeply enough at quantum mechanics came to the same terrifying and liberating conclusion. You are not separate from reality. You are creating it. Every single moment. The only question is whether you will create consciously or continue to let unconscious patterns create for you. I just showed you evidence they have buried for decades. Research that proves consciousness is fundamental to reality. Experiments that demonstrate your mind affects physical matter. And the hidden truth Einstein could not say publicly. If this changed something in you, the super thanks button is how you say this truth matters, not as payment, as a declaration. You are choosing to be part of those who know, who see through the illusion, who understand that consciousness creates reality. Every click on that heart is someone waking up, someone choosing truth over comfortable lies, someone becoming a conscious creator instead of an unconscious follower. This channel exists because people like you support the revelation of hidden knowledge, knowledge that threatens those who profit from your ignorance, knowledge that empowers those ready to receive it. You decide what you are. Now let me tell you what Einstein really believed at the end of his life. In 1955, just weeks before his death, Einstein's closest friend, Michael Besson, passed away. Einstein wrote a letter to Besson's family that was sold at Christie's auction and is now verified historical record. In that letter, Einstein wrote something remarkable. He said that for those of us who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. He was telling them that time itself is not fundamental, that the linear progression we experience is a product of consciousness, not an objective feature of reality, that from a deeper perspective, everything exists simultaneously. This is not poetry. This is physics. If time is an illusion of consciousness, then consciousness exists outside of time, before time, creating time. Einstein's final message was the same message he had been encoding in his work for 50 years. Reality as we experience it is a construction, a projection, a manifestation of something deeper and more fundamental. That something is consciousness, your consciousness, and you have barely begun to understand what you can do with it. The establishment wants you to believe you are an accident of chemistry, a meaningless collection of atoms, temporarily organized by random forces. They want you small, large, powerless, dependent on external authorities for meaning and purpose. But Einstein's real legacy tells a different story. You are consciousness observing itself, creating experience through attention, collapsing infinite possibility into specific reality. With every moment of awareness, the moon isn't really there, unless you are looking at it. Not because the moon is imaginary, but because looking, observing, being conscious is what brings reality into existence. Einstein spent 30 years fighting this conclusion. He lost. And in losing, he proved the most profound truth in all of science. You are the creator. Reality is your canvas. Consciousness is your brush. What will you paint? Now I need to ask you something. Did you know this truth, Mashkin, before watching this video? Were you already sensing that consciousness and reality are connected? Or is this completely new information to you? Comment below. Tell me what you knew before, what you know now, and what you are going to do differently because of this understanding. I read every comment, especially in the first 2 hours, because I want to know who is ready, who is awakening, who is beginning to consciously create instead of unconsciously suffering. You are not here by accident. Something in the quantum field connected us. Your attention found this video for a reason. Use what you learned. Einstein could not tell you publicly, but I can. Your consciousness creates reality. The experiments prove it. The physics confirms it. The only question is whether you will claim the power that has always been yours or continue to give it away. The choice is yours. It always has been. You just did not know it until now. Before you go, let me leave you with one final thought. In 1929, Einstein gave an interview to George Sylvester Virek for the Saturday Evening Post. It was published and is part of the historical record. In that interview, Einstein spoke about what he called Spinoza's God, not a personal God who rewards and punishes, but an intelligence that reveals itself in the harmony of all that exists. He was describing a conscious universe, a universe that is not made of dead matter, but of awareness, expressing itself as matter, as energy, as you. When Einstein said, "God does not play dice with the universe," he was not defending random chance. He was defending order, intelligence, purpose. He believed the universe was too coherent to be accidental, too elegant to be meaningless. And he was right. But the order he sensed was not mechanical. It was conscious. It is conscious. You are part of that consciousness, not separate from it, not outside of it, not observing it from a distance. You are it, observing itself, creating itself. Through the miraculous instrument of human awareness, the great irony of Einstein's life is that in fighting quantum mechanics, he proved its deepest truth. The universe requires consciousness. Reality demands observation. Creation needs a creator, and the creator is looking through your eyes right now, wondering what to create next. Do not waste this understanding. Every scientist I mentioned paid a price for knowing this truth. Planck, Wigner, Wheeler, even Einstein himself, who could never publicly say what he privately believed. But you live in a different time. The evidence is published. The research is available. The suppression is cracking. You have the opportunity they never had to openly acknowledge what they had to hide, to consciously create what they could only theorize about, to live the truth that got others destroyed. Use it. Your consciousness creates reality. This is not belief. This is physics. And you are the experiment. That proves it true. Every moment of your life.